All right. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? That was a real question. How are you today? Good. I cannot hear you. How are you today? That's so much better. And hello to all the women of power in this room. My name is Crisel Consunji, and I'm so privileged to be among you today and with Amanda and Victoria, two women who I really idolize and personally admire. You see, my background is in early childhood education, not just in music or arts. And so what these two women do really resonates with me, and it should resonate to a lot of us. Now, very interestingly enough, our topic for today is next generation philanthropy. And you'll have to excuse me and my impertinence for saying that originally when people said next generation philanthropy, I was like, isn't that an oxymoron? It's like next generation and philanthropy. It's something that I didn't think growing up would be two words, or no, two concepts that actually can connect with each other. I used to think that philanthropy, and pardon me for saying this, it felt like a bit of an antiquated word, or something that was inaccessible, as if it's something that somebody else would be doing, and not just us. But these ladies are coming to the forefront and showing us that anyone from anywhere can help the community, can build this community, and educate people and create better systems and structures for everyone. So, without further ado, please give a warm round of applause to Amanda and Victoria. All right. Enough of me talking. Why don't we ask them what drives them and to tell us a bit more about their foundations. Amanda?
Sure. I'm very happy to be here today. And what I would like to share today is about First Initiative Foundation. So, okay, wait, actually, let me give it to Victoria because this
we're going to swap.
Victoria's
We're going to swap. Okay.
So I do have my cheat sheet
This
here.
is me time. This is my time. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So Hong Kong Down Syndrome Association is a foundation that my father was the president of in 1993. And the philanthropy and charitable work has run in my family for a long, long time. My great-grandfather, Tang is a prominent Hong Kong figure for philanthropy. A lot of landmarks included with his names. My father as well, my late father, Sir David Tang as well. So he's also really, you know, he believes in a lot of charitable causes, and the one that really resonated with me was the Hong Kong Down Syndrome. Because growing up, I would go to all the AGMs, engaging with the members, talking to them, not being shy about it, not thinking otherwise, that they were different, and really just trying to get an understanding of them and their family, just like normal people. So the thing is with me, the Hong Kong Down Syndrome, a little bit more background, is So in 2017, I was elected as the president after my late father passed away. And now it's been 7 years, and I'm still the president and doing really, really hard work to kind of promote our association. So a little bit about the Hong Kong Down Syndrome Association. We cater to from newborn to adulthood, and we have family support. We provide family support, vocational training, as well as any kind of initiatives to promote awareness. And one of the biggest challenges that we have at the moment is integration of workplace, because as they get older, their family and carers are also getting older. And you can imagine that if they don't go to work, there are no job opportunities for them. It means that they will have to stay home, or they have to be with their family for a long time. Just imagine being a newborn, mom with a newborn. You also need a break. So giving them work placement allows them to have some space for themselves. I think I think the previous talk was also talking about your mental health. Your own mental health is also important. So by catering to work and part-time jobs or skills training is also very important, and very important initiatives for us to engage other people to do so. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Victoria. That is something I think we really, as a community, need to be more aware of, honestly. What you mentioned about just that understanding and that being able to be part and integrating in that community is such an important thing. Speaking of community integration, then something also with education and the youth, and something about the arts. Amanda.
Okay, so since Victoria did it this way round, so I'll do it the other way round. So first, I'll introduce our foundation, First Initiative Foundation. So this was actually founded in 2011 by my mother. Actually, I just saw she's sitting over there as well. And it is a charitable foundation that really, our core mission is to proactively uplift Hong Kong, both locally and globally. And we are really here to support, promote and inspire the creatives of today and tomorrow. So what we actually do is we proactively create a lot of initiatives to see how we can help them in terms of promoting them, in terms of actually nurturing them. And this is done by, say, more traditional approaches, for example, from fundraising, funding, or master classes, as well as some initiatives that really focus on connection. You know, how we connect different creatives with each other, how we create this ecosystem, and very importantly, how to help Hong Kong creatives and artists reach the world stage and shine on the world stage. So this is something that's very important. Do you have a clicker? Yeah. And then now, on the journey to FIF, I think a key word here would be family. So just now, I think I guys gave you a hint that, you know, it is a organization that was actually founded by my family member, my mother. So I think that's a very, already having a link there. And I think prior to FIF, actually, since a young age, I was very fortunate to be able to be involved in a lot of different causes. So just like Victoria, you know, to starting from a young age, going to understand along, you know, with my parents being role models, to go and see how we can go out to care for people and the importance of giving back. So obviously when we're younger, it's maybe different involvements. For me, it was more visits to elderly care centers, it was visits to orphanages, sometimes giving toys, you know, during holiday season, or even daily goods. And simply, sometimes it was just to spend time with them. And I think that, for me, all these experiences really made me realize that there are just so many ways to give back. You know, it could be small, it could be big. It doesn't really matter. It's having the heart to go do something and just to change, you know, your surroundings or the people around you a little better. So throughout all my teenage years and all that, then I started to get more involved because I was able to. So I would be, for example, project helpers during my school holidays. And my mother was actually very involved in different charities. It was before FIF. She has been doing philanthropy for decades, you know. She was in Royal Scouts. She did Hong Kong Phil. She did, and my father did Caritas. He's in the medical field, so he helped in his own way as well. So all these were different opportunities for me to come into contact with it. And finally, I think on this current stage is when I came back to Hong Kong permanently in 2017, 2018. That was when I joined. I was very happy to join FIF, to join forces with my mother, to see how we can continue with our mission and see how we can expand and extend our reach. So, yeah. And one more point, since we're talking Crisel, is that family is also including friends, including Crisel, who is our very valued FIF circle of friends. So
yes.
I think that says a lot.
I was about to say that I have a personal experience with the FIF, but I'll tell a bit more about that later. What I think is so good to highlight with these two ladies is that the impact that family brings, right? It's your family that has supported you and made you aware of your role in society. And it's so good that together we're also building many families and empowering them to better raise children who are aware of their role and their responsibilities as well. So, speaking of the changing landscape and the new generation, how do you think philanthropy has changed? Let's say from what was it before, and what do you think it is now?
Do you want me to go first? No. So I think with philanthropy before, it might be, especially from the association standpoint, it was very an inner circle. People would be friends and families, AGMs. It would be the community of that specific, Down syndrome community. Whereas now, I think, based on social media, more impactful awareness, and some sort of more marketing initiatives to drive awareness, the community has grown, and that's the way it should be, to foster inclusivity, and really just to normalize things. And it's not only just for, it could be as simple as accepting a colleague with Down syndrome, or understanding how to communicate with them, or seeing them on the street and not staring at them. Or not just Down syndrome, but anyone with disability, that you need to recognize what they are, and through education, and then therefore create a more harmonious community where we're very helpful of each other, and not having to, it's this, stay positive in a way, that everyone can use a bit of smile on the streets, and yeah.
So it's a bit of reframing how people see
Definitely.
that cause versus something, I guess, how would you say people viewed the situation with Down syndrome maybe a decade ago versus now?
They would probably not, I think, through personal experience, they wouldn't know what Down syndrome means, or what does that entail. And obviously with Down syndrome, there's a wide spectrum, right? Most Down syndrome members, we call them members, they have autism, but not all of them have. Some Down syndrome, the really key feature for them is the way they look, and that's why in the previous slides I've shown you a lot of their faces, because they are smiling faces, and they're very recognizable faces in different races as well. And so there is this genuine vibe to them, and they always look in the world in a very positive way. So it's for us to kind of embrace that and to foster that inclusive community.
Right. Before I move on to Amanda, because I have a lot of questions for you as well, I want to ask Victoria, because you mentioned about the changing awareness and redefining how we look at the situation with Down syndrome. Would you say that social media and technology plays a big factor in this?
I think it does, and a part of my work is really to engage other people, to make them aware of the Down Syndrome Association, what we do. And I'll give an example of the Upper House. Actually, Upper House has, we've partnered with the Upper House as a project, initially started in 2018. And this is what we call the Upstairs program. And the Upstairs programs provide training opportunities for Down syndrome and people with autism and some intellectual disabilities as well. So it's not just Down syndrome, but more of a spectrum of people who can't get work placement, but they need skills and to be trained to therefore then get a job. So Upper House we've been doing this program, and I've just attended the graduation last week, the 5th anniversary of the graduation. They do a rotation of 4 weeks, and they will allocate staff to do home, housekeeping, kitchen, cutting, chopping, presenting, how to wrap presents. And these are skill sets that are very valuable to them. Unlike some people who just think they're mundane work, just another key fact is that our members ranges from 7 months to 35 years old. However, only 5% have jobs. And these jobs, what I'm talking about, they are mostly cleaning, recycling, that type of job. Now, I would love for you, and that's why I'm here, and that's why you all are here, because we need to figure out some ways to help find good skills training, then integrating them into work placement, and try to be more inclusive in that sense. And so Upper House, the upstairs program actually has place after 40, fifth federation, and they have trained 46 members in total up till date, and hired 3 part-time just to integrate it into the corporate industry. And this is such a thing to applaud to, because corporates sometimes think that they can't do much, but actually they can do so much more. Yeah, and you, Amanda.
I think I completely agree with Victoria, and I think echoing the point there that no matter how big or how small, it's the most important thing, I guess, just as I say, it's always to take the first initiative. If you feel like you could better someone else's life, better something that you see around you, I think it's really taking that initiative to do something about that. And I think when you really have the heart to want to do good, I think automatically you have the power already to influence those around you, just as our examples with our family or our friends. And I think this is something that we cannot underestimate, and I think that we should really foster.
This is something I really, really admire with the First Initiative Foundation, Amanda, and your work, because I've seen you on the ground, hands-on, and I've seen the many educational initiatives you have, especially for children. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so actually this came about when I first joined FIF, because my mother and the whole FIF family has been doing so much great work, and I want to reflect on how I can bring my skill sets or things that I'm probably more passionate about into enriching the FIF family. And so and one of the things was that while we were supporting a lot of actually existing creatives or young creatives, I wanted to do more and include more people in these initiatives that we do. And one of the angles that actually we thought we could explore was to incite curiosity. Because I think the first step is curiosity before we even get creativity. And so then we decided and built a lot of programs, and I wanted to get also, and I was really actually very happy when I came back that I found some like-minded young people around my age who spoke the same language. They all had different skill sets, and so I started to build a lot of different committees, educational outreach committees, community outreach committees, a lot of young committees, all doing different things or bringing different, leveraging different skill sets and passions and coming together to see how we can uplift Hong Kong together. I think this was really something that,
I love that you mentioned curiosity. You have to see Amanda fighting for curiosity, for a child's right to find something interesting, to think out of the box. I remember our conversations. Amanda would say, we cannot just do the normal things. We have to allow children to do something different. And I really, really admire that.
I know, but I'm grateful for your support as well, because we actually did workshops together as well, and I think this is really what was great. I think people like Crisel, Victoria, we have the power to influence other people, and they all chipping in, and this would just keep growing. And I think with this, collective power, then you really can make a difference, I think.
So that's actually my next question to both of you. How do you engage the younger generation, those who actually feel like, oh, I'm not yet there in my career, I don't know how I can help, I don't know how to care for the community. How do you get that going? Any one of you can answer.
So how I get that going, I think, I keep saying the same thing, but I think really, again, is just, I think maybe the word here is maybe sustainability. I think sometimes, when you have a desire to do something, and I think it's great, harness that enthusiasm, and I think that's great. But how to make it sustainable, maybe it's something that we could think about. And I think one of the great ways that I feel that from all the experience so far is to see how it can align with what you do or what your skill sets are. For example, I mentioned earlier, my father is in the medical field, and so he was heavily involved in Caritas and helping, in his kind of field. And my mother is obviously an artist and a creative, so she would know a lot of the challenges that they face, and she'll have a very unique perspective and have ideas on how to help. So for me, I feel like this is probably the way to go about, is to find and align your skill sets to do that good, so you don't feel too much in the in the deep end of the pool, and that you could just do step by step. So that's probably what I would say. I don't know. What do you think?
Go ahead.
I think I think we just shared this earlier off stage as well. I think with social media, with younger philanthropy, how do we actually educate them? I think first is well, social media is quite a powerful tool, as everyone has said, but usage. So, for example, engaging to World Down Syndrome Day, which is March 21st, or even initiatives like putting together a fashion show. We have the director of Hong Kong Down Syndrome there, Erica, show of hands, Candace, show of hands. This is very an emotional kind of showcase of the members actually designing their dream outfit and walking the show as well. And you can see different culture backgrounds incorporating different imagination. And I love what you just said, is the creativity side, right? Before creativity, there is curiosity. And there is this outlet for them to use. Or is it a stage show? Is it theater? Putting them on stage. They love to perform, and this is their nature. But also, working with other companies as well. It's Chrissy's Jonathan Stone kindly came, we had a mutual understanding, and he said, well, how can I support? And I said, you know what, even just bringing them to an auction house, just a pre-sale, would be a dream come true, because they love to draw. So even things like this can help enlarge their, encourage them, enlighten them to get inspired and let others inspire. So it's an inspiration on both sides, and it's about cultivating that curiosity again. I think we're very much aligned. This is my son reading my magazine when I was first elected as a Down syndrome. But every single time you get, charity also starts from home, and you need to cultivate this, because what is for our next generation to come, it's engaging them. It's just feeding them into that this is normal. This is how we can get to the next level of inclusive community and people helping each other, and they love to hold hands with him, and it's just, they're just such kind people. And I wish all of you who are sitting here, and I wish there is some sort of way, because it's not just one way of philanthropy is giving donations, but there's so much more. It's experience that they want to gain. It's skill sets they want to have. It's learning. They are so eager to learn, to grow, and we all grow together.
I love the passion with which you speak about this, because it's really getting people engaged and really letting people think, where am I at? What am I doing? Am I running a business? Am I running a team? What can I do to bring that education, that inclusivity, which I think is important. You mentioned with the upper house, it's not just about people with Down syndrome, but also with neurodivergent needs, people with autism, people with ADHD. Nowadays, there's so much more that we can do to make our society more inclusive. There's so many gifts that people can have and they can contribute. And I think that's what you both have in common. It's about finding your talent, finding your gift, and finding out how you can make that impact.
Because giving comes in many forms, right? In all forms.
And what would you say we can do? People here right now, and people watching us, maybe is it on Instagram, on Facebook, and everybody here in Landmark, what would you like to say? What would you like to bring home? What would you like us to bring home today?
For any of you who are interested in working with us, I would love to come and have a chat and see what opportunities may come about. Whether it's training, because ultimately, as I mentioned, it's really work placement, integrating them into the work placements is key. But there are also other many ways of engaging all of you amazing women, amazing businesses as well. So, we'll find different ways, and each of you will have a unique experience with the Hong Kong Down Syndrome Association, and we hope that this would grow, and not just with, but maybe it's working with you, Amanda. We can have a chat. So these are connections, and this is how we build a community.
I think that's what characterizes the next generation, that ability to make connections and network and really, really add on to this pool of talent. I have a very special question for you, Amanda, in particular, because I'm very well acquainted with the FIF, and I see the effects and the results, the impact you make, especially for young artists, and how important aesthetic education is in our society. A big part of that, I think, is your ability to story tell, right? And create a connection between the past and the present and the future. Can you tell me more about that?
So I think storytelling and branding, I think that is a very important part of actually anything we do nowadays, I think, especially with the advent of social media and digital technology. We have so much more access and we have so many more channels of communication. And I think all of you here will probably agree, it's almost like an overwhelming, like too much information. So I think branding and storytelling is a very important strategy to get people to know what actually your cause is about and how to actually proactively engage these people to help and to kind of harness their power. But I think maybe this one, instead, I would like to say maybe some other keywords I would actually come in mind, because I think everyone here already knows the importance of it. But I think sometimes what I think to keep in mind in the whole context of this conversation so far is sometimes you can't do everything at one time. And I think that's okay. And I think what is actually important, where maybe you don't have the best branding, or the most a captivating storytelling. But I think if you're authentic, I think that is something that cannot be overlooked. And if you're authentic and you know what you care about, there's always time to slowly work towards how to better communicate. Even for myself, from my personal experience and my little FIF team, like we always know what we want, we always want to do more. But how can we keep doing what we're doing without expecting everything to be perfect straight away? I think this is maybe sometimes what is keeping people from giving back. Because I do think that, I see a lot of people who want to give, but what you just said, they maybe are fearful, they don't know how to give, maybe it's not the best way. And I just want, if there's one thing I want everyone to take away, it's just be brave. I think if you're just brave and you can just start from small and you can kind of build that storytelling and branding, and actually just by influencing one person, just as we had examples here, like just one person, that person can then go and influence other things. For example, we have young scholars. We have a young scholars program that's over a decade, and it's amazing to see that we had a young scholar who is now, world-class musician, Ninu, that is also our mutual friend, and he then goes, he just did a master class for the young people last year. So, this is a sort of, circularity or a circle that I guess shows it.
It's amazing for the next gen philanthropists that you actually see the impact you're making and you feel like it's already doing more and more. It's exponentially growing.
And these are the stories that have to be told because they're little chapters of a bigger book, right? So I think this is really, really nice to have. And I think we hope this doesn't stop here, but it continues to grow.
I think you're inspiring a lot of women here today. Are you inspired? Yes. You can really see in their eyes that they're thinking about what you're saying. For me personally, I'm taking away this courage that you have and the integrity and authenticity that you're carrying. So I wonder if there's one more message you would like to end this session with, what would it be?
You are what you give and not what you're given. That's what my father used to say. And it held on to me for a lot. It's not about accepting what was given to you, but how do you leverage, how do you use what you give to other people?
Thank you.
And for me, I guess, since we're also Women of Power seminar, I think really just do not underestimate the power within you. And I think the first step is really just taking the first initiative. I think that's it.
All right, let's please give these ladies a very, very warm round of applause. Keep their message to heart. And we'll be seeing you more often because I bet many of these women will come up to you and figure out how they can support your causes. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Have
you
a
so much.
wonderful
Thank you.
afternoon.